What's up? It's me, Marty Yitram, the geeky American otaku. I hope everyone had a spooktacular Halloween, and I hope you're all managing to recover from the hangover that is daylight savings time. I mean, seriously, why do we still have that around? Anyway, I've been trying to experiment with my videos, such as my Let's Plays, albeit with mixed results, but I guess I could try to perfect them a bit more. Anyway, I'm going to go back to what I do best, and it's time for a new episode of 15-Minute Game Show Reviews. This time I'm going to be covering a well-known game show that was a staple of cable TV in the 1990s and 2000s and combines two things Americans love most: pop culture and shopping. And I mean actually going out to the mall and not sitting on your butt ordering on Amazon. It's time to shop till you drop.
Today, one of these lucky couples could win a dream vacation. Meet Wanda Thomas and David Ellis. They've been dating ever since they met while on vacation. She's a deputy sheriff trainee. He invented fitness boot camp classes. Meet Andrea and Joe Austin. They've been married for 3 years. She's an attorney, he's in public relations. These record collectors love to yell, bingo! They're all here to play the wildest game ever, Shop Till You Drop. And now, here's the host and game meister of Shop Till You Drop, Pat Finn!
Thank you. Thanks very much. Hey, good to have you here. Welcome into our mall here on Shop Till You Drop, and the welcome really goes out to you at home.
One of the most enduring game shows during the 1990s and early 2000s, Shop Till You Drop did for the mall what Supermarket Sweep did for, well, the supermarket. Shop Till You Drop actually aired after Sweep in the same hour on Lifetime and then again later on the PAX network, which is now called ION. The first version premiered on Lifetime on July 8th, 1991 and ended on September 30th, 1994, with reruns airing on Lifetime until May 1996. Less than 4 months later, on September 30th of that year, the Family Channel, now known as Freeform, picked up the show and rebranded it as the new Shop Till You Drop, pairing it with Jay Wolpert's most successful series, Shopping Spree. Both shows ended on August 14th, 1998. In 1999, the PAX network, again, ION as it's called now, began airing reruns of both Shop Till You Drop and Supermarket Sweep. Pleased with the ratings from the reruns, a year later, PAX ordered new episodes of both shows, and they both returned on April 3rd, 2000. PAX canceled the mall version of Shop Till You Drop on May 24th, 2002. But just like The Simpsons, the show refused to die, and was brought back yet again, albeit completely overhauled and now taking place at a Costco-like store on October 6, 2003. Before ending pretty much for good on May 27th, 2005. Now, for the most part, we're not going to be talking about the Costco version of the show, since most people, myself included, prefer the original mall version of Shop Till You Drop. The show was produced by Stone Stanley Productions, originally just Stone Television, named for longtime Lorimar producer Scott A. Stone. When his original partner, Bob Sines, died in 1990, he teamed up with fellow Lorimar producer David G. Stanley and would go on to produce many TV shows over the next decade and change. Their first big hit was actually Funhouse. After Funhouse ended in 1991, Shop Till You Drop came along. Other shows produced by Stone Stanley include Teen Win, Lose or Draw, Love Line, Legends of the Hidden Temple, Mall Masters, The Man Show, Bobcat's Big Ass Show, Winning Lines, The Mole, Celebrity Mole, The Joe Schmo Show, and Oblivious. David Stanley left in 2004 and started his own company, the Stanley Entertainment Group, and Scott Stone renamed Stone Stanley just Stone & Company Entertainment. He later went on to produce Brain Surge for Nickelodeon and the 2021 revival of Legends of the Hidden Temple for the CW. The host for the original version was Pat Finn, a native of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, a city so nice they hyphenated it. Pat first got his start as a weatherman at local NBC affiliate WBRE, before later covering the weather at WPXI in Pittsburgh, KPNX in Phoenix, and KRON in San Francisco. In the mid-1980s, while he was in Phoenix, he hosted a popular local variety show called Finn and Friends. He first gained national exposure in 1990 as the host of the revival reboot of The Joker's Wild. And although it only lasted one season, it was rerun extensively on USA until that channel stopped airing game show reruns in 1995. In the mid-1990s, Pat formed his own production company, Infinity Productions, later called Rubicon Entertainment, and has created and produced TV shows for networks like NBC, Lifetime, MTV, the Game Show Network, VH1, FX, and Amazon Prime Video. In 1999, he became the fourth and final host of the California Lottery's weekly game show, The Big Spin, staying with it until the show's cancellation in 2009. Pat remains very active in his church, the Agape International Spiritual Center. I don't know if it's agape or agape, I'll have to ask him. Anyway, and he has raised more than $5 million for different charities, including the U.S. Foundation for the Children of Haiti and the Hope Hospital in Port-au-Prince. Currently, Pat has left show business and he is now the founder and head coach for Rubicon Results Institute, an international peak performance coaching business. The first announcer was Mark Wahlberg. Not that one. Mark L. Wahlberg. Born in Florence, South Carolina, Mark was the original announcer on Shop Till You Drop during its lifetime run and frequently appeared on camera alongside Pat, usually during the bonus round. After Shop Till You Drop ended its run on Lifetime, Mark hosted Stone Stanley's short-lived Free-for-All on USA, followed by a nationally syndicated tabloid talk show during the 1995-96 season. He later hosted the fan-favorite game show Russian Roulette on the Game Show Network from 2002 to 2003, as well as the April 1st, 2003 episode of Game Show Network's Friend or Foe, subbing for that show's host, Lisa Kennedy Montgomery. He also hosted the PAX Network game show On the Cover in 2004, and in 2008, Fox's The Moment of Truth. He also hosted the Discovery Family game show The Game Plane. From 2002 until 2009, Mark hosted PBS's long-running series Antiques Roadshow, and since 2019, has hosted USA's revival of the reality dating series Temptation Island, which he previously hosted from 2001 to 2003 for Fox. He's also one of the hosts of The Price is Right Live, which travels to different casinos across the country. Pat Finn also hosted The Price is Right Live in the past. The second announcer was Jason Grant Smith, who has done ADR work in several movies and TV shows, and acting credits include Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Star Trek Enterprise, Wings, Seventh Heaven, Coach, and Days of Our Lives. The third announcer for the mall format was veteran voice actor D. Bradley Baker. D. was born in Bloomington, Indiana. He grew up in Greeley, Colorado, where he graduated from Colorado College, where he studied philosophy, biology, fine arts, and German, the latter of which he studied overseas for a year at the University of Göttingen. I hope I pronounced that right. Anyway, after moving to Orlando in 1989, he did the improv sketch comedy show called The Anatomical Players at Epcot Center's Wonders of Life Pavilion, and he did other work for Disney and Universal. In 1993, Dee first entered our living rooms on Nickelodeon's hit game show Legends of the Hidden Temple, where, for the next 3 seasons, he was both the announcer and the voice of the show's talking rock deity, Olmec. He would describe the day's legend and ask questions during the Steps of Knowledge round, and then give the day's layout for the temple run. Later, Olmec would describe the task for the moat at the beginning of the show, and then the task for the temple games, taking over that role from host Kirk Fogg for the last 2 seasons. More than 20 years later, Kirk and Dee would reprise their roles for the 2016 Nickelodeon TV movie based on Legends, and then again for the CW's 2021 reboot alongside new host Cristela Alonso. In 1994, Dee moved to Los Angeles, where he began his voice acting career, which he continues today, and he has voiced both human and animal characters, the latter of which has become a specialty of his. Some of Dee's most notable voice acting credits include Daffy Duck and Taz in Space Jam, the Dad in Cow and Chicken, and yes, it's just a pair of legs, Squilliam Fancyson and Bubble Bass from SpongeBob SquarePants, Number 4 from Codename Kids Next Door, Geng Chi from Jackie Chan Adventures, Klaus Hessler the Goldfish from American Dad, Cinderblock, Plasmus, and Silky from Teen Titans, Prince Aragon, Mikey, and Agent K from Danny Phantom, Appa and Momo from Avatar The Last Airbender, Stinkfly and Wildmutt from Ben 10, Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb, the Clone Troopers and Captain Rex from Star Wars The Clone Wars, Pabu, Naga, and Tarlok from The Legend of Korra, Waddles from Gravity Falls, and so many others, I can't post them all here. Basically, if you grew up in the 1990s, the 2000s, or even the 2010s, D. Bradley Baker has pretty much been a big part of your childhood. The host of the 2003 revamp was J.D. Roberto, who also has several credits to his name, both in acting and hosting. His hosting credits include Battle of the Ages on BYU TV, Are You Hot?, American Idol Extra, E! News Live, You Like a Dog on Animal Planet, Shark Chasers on the Travel Channel, The Price is Right Live, and the streaming fitness program Daily Burn 365, for which he was nominated for an Emmy in 2017. His acting credits include soap operas such as All My Children, Passions, and General Hospital, along with the fantasy series The New Adventures of Robin Hood and sitcoms like Frasier, Step by Step, and Family Matters. Screenwriter Don Priest announced this version. Anyway, now we finally get to the gameplay. Two teams, almost always consisting of a man and a woman, whether they be married, engaged, dating, siblings, or best friends, competed against each other to win prizes and a trip. The backdrop was a large, 2-story, 14-store shopping mall with 7 stores on each level. The podiums were always placed in the center court of the mall. The team that won the coin toss was brought over to participate in a stunt, which tested consumer knowledge on products and shopping, as well as pop culture. The stunts varied widely, but most involved the team answering questions based upon a pop culture category or various other games based on pricing merchandise, and usually had a 1-minute time limit. Now, after Pat described the stunt, the team either had the option to play the stunt themselves or pass it to their opponents and force them to play it, and they would play the second stunt of round 1. Should the team be successful in completing the stunt, that team earned 100 points, and they got to go shopping by picking from one of the 7 stores downstairs, winning the prize associated with the store. The stores, their locations in the mall, and the prizes associated with them varied from episode to episode, but they generally consisted of typical game show fare: furniture, electronics, appliances, jewelry, artwork. You get the idea. One of the stores had the Shopper's Special, which, in addition to the prize, awarded a mini vacation, like a weekend in Las Vegas or Palm Springs. Now, after the first stunt was played, the remaining team played the second stunt. Whichever team did not have the choice of playing or passing the first stunt in round 1 had the option in round 2, which was played the same, but now stunts were worth 200 points. At the end of round 2, if no one picked the store with the Shopper's Special, in later seasons Pat would tell them which of the stores had it. After 2 rounds were played, the game moved into the Shopper's Challenge round, which was a rapid-fire Q&A, with the questions again related to shopping and entertainment. The round lasted for 90 seconds, and a correct answer awarded 50 points. The women on each team played first, and only one team member was allowed to answer each question, and the partners switched places after the question was asked. If a team answered incorrectly or took more than 3 seconds to answer after buzzing in, their opponents were given the chance to answer and steal the points. When the horn sounded at the end of the round, whoever had the higher score won the game and went on to shop till they dropped for a chance at a dream vacation. However, if there was a tie, one final question was asked. The team who buzzed in and answered correctly won the game. If they answered incorrectly, the other team automatically won by default. Both teams kept whatever prizes they won and the Shopper's Special if they found that. Now it was time for the bonus round, where the winning couple would shop till they dropped. One teammate was the buyer, while the other, and it was usually the man, was called the exchanger, essentially the runner. The buyer stood in front of a table with 6 boxes, each concealing a prize. When the round began, the timer would start counting down from 1 minute and 30 seconds. The buyer opened the first box and decided whether or not to keep the prize inside. If the prize was kept, the runner brought the box to a table across the stage to the co-host and rang a bell, signaling for the shopper to open the next box. If the shopper wanted to exchange a prize, The runner took the box to any of the 14 stores in the mall, left the opened item there, and brought the unopened box from the new store to the prize table and again rang the bell. Play continued until all 6 items were kept or exchanged, or until time ran out. And at least one of the stores in the mall contained a prize worth at least $700. Once the first half of the round was completed, the retail values of the prizes on the table before time expired were added up one by one. The prizes were theirs to keep regardless of the outcome, but if the total of the prizes reached $2,500 or exceeded that amount, the couple also won what they called a dream vacation. In the first 2 seasons, however, the winning amount was only $1,000, and there was always at least one store which featured a prize worth $500 or more. Also, later in the first season, there were always at least 2 stores which featured prizes worth $300 or more. In addition, some of the boxes contained gag gifts, which still had a connection to the store it came from, such as a jewelry box from the jewelry store or furniture polish from the furniture store, and these were typically worth less than $50. The gag gifts were thankfully eliminated when the goal was raised to $2,500 at the start of the 3rd season. Now, as for the 2003 version, well, the mall was replaced with a Costco-like warehouse store with 14 departments. 2 teams still competed, still often composed of opposite-gender couples in a relationship, but they also featured teams with members of the same gender. No same-sex couples, though. Anyway, stunts were now done away with, and they now featured questions and pricing segments based on 2 specific topics, which were puns relating to their content. Instead of physical props, on-screen graphics were used to display the options to the home audience. Host J.D. Roberto provided the category for the segment, and the first team chose to play or pass to their opponents. All segments were played within a 60-second time limit, and only one player could answer for each team. As before, completing the challenge earned 100 points in round 1 and 200 points in round 2. The team then won the prize of their choice, and their teammate ran to one of the departments in the store with a flashing blue light and brought it back for JD to reveal. The Shopper's Special was still attached to one of the prizes. And the Shopper's Challenge round was still played the same as was the Shop Till You Drop round. However, now, players alternated between buying and running. One teammate opened a box, and the other handed the item off to their partner, who decided whether or not to keep or exchange the item for any prize in a department with a flashing light, then brought the associated box to a table and rang a bell. The 90-second time limit and the goal of $2,500 remained the same. Well, that's the gist of Shop Till You Drop, and now we will grade what was billed as the wildest shopping game ever. I should point out that since I never really watched the 2003 to 2005 version, I will be leaving that version out and focus pretty much on the 1991-2002 version, the superior one. As we all know, game shows started to die out on network television at the end of the 1980s and early 1990s. But they would find a new home on cable, and Shop Till You Drop ended up becoming one of the ones with staying power. And it's easy to see why. It was a simple and fun game show. The main challenge came from the stunts, which required some skill. Of course, just like the other stunt-heavy game shows of the time, Beat the Clock, Double Dare, and Funhouse, some of the stunts were easier than others, and they could usually be the difference between winning and losing. However, the Shopper's Challenge round allowed contestants to make up for any failures during the stunt round, and allowed the team who was behind to come back and win the game, especially since the questions weren't super challenging. The Shop Till You Drop round was always fun to watch, although most of the time the contestants almost always exchanged all the prizes for ones in the mall. Usually this wasn't a problem if the prize reveal didn't look too expensive, which was more obvious in the first 2 seasons, but sometimes this could backfire, as they would have exchanged for a prize that was worth less than the one they should have kept, although they didn't know this until Pat told them when they were totaling up the prizes, or it was revealed to be a gag gift during the first 2 seasons. However, if they managed to find a store that had one of the prizes worth more than $700, and there was almost always more than one, they usually won the trip anyway. But when you're going against the clock, you usually don't have time to think about that. As for Pat Finn, well, he was one of the more underrated game shows out there. While The Joker's Wild allowed Pat to build his game show hosting ability, Shop Till You Drop was where he mastered it, even if he cracked a dad joke now and then. But you know what? He was very professional on this show and very friendly to the contestants. He also had a good repertoire and banter with his co-hosts, first with Mark L. Wahlberg and especially with D. Bradley Baker. I especially enjoyed this scene here where he argues with Dee's character of Grandma Curmudgeon.
Oh, Patrick, I don't think I'm in this one. I have to tend to the little dogs.
Actually, there's been a change of plans, Grandma, and we need you to step into our box right now.
But the dogs, I really need to take care of them. Another fellow was going to do this.
Yeah, no, but he had to leave, Grandma. If you just need to step in the box.
Are you absolutely sure, Patrick?
Grandma, get in the box!
Yes, Patrick, it was.
Thank you very much. Okay.
I'm amazed they didn't do a comedy act together. Anyway, as for the co-hosts, Mark Wahlberg was excellent, and it helped him become a great host in his own right. Jason Grant Smith did an okay job during his time there as well, but D. Bradley Baker was probably the best of the three, because unlike Mark or Jason, D was able to play many different characters during his time in the show, which of course allowed him to perform his many different voices. Anyway, the end result was a fun show with a great host and co-host that offered great prizes and a shot at a really nice vacation. Shop Till You Drop was a staple of 1990s TV, and it gets a solid A. And now here's the part where I talk about how I'd revive the show if I had the chance to do so. The tough part about reviving the show in the 21st century is because of the changes in how people shop. The American mall, though not completely dead, is sadly a slowly dying relic in an era of megastores and nearly ubiquitous e-commerce, which is probably why the 2003-05 version was set in a warehouse store. Predicting the future, perhaps? But sadly, it didn't have the same charm as the original, so I think any revival should still be set in a mall, if not for the retro 90s feel. The show would be played the same as the 1991 to 2002 version with stunts, but instead of points, the stunts would now be played for money. Maybe $500 for a stunt in round 1 and $1,000 for a stunt in round 2. Now, the Shopper's Special would still award a mini vacation as before, and the questions in the Shopper's Challenge round would be worth $250 apiece, and both teams kept whatever cash and prizes they won. Shop Till You Drop round is still the same as before, but the winning amount would probably need to be increased due to inflation. I'm thinking $4,000 or $5,000 would be the goal amount to win the trip, with one of the two prizes in the mall being worth at least $1,500. As for the host, well, if Pat Finn wants to do it again, he should, and D. Bradley Baker could join him again. But if Pat can't return, or he chose not to, I'd go with either Mark L. Wahlberg, J.D. Roberto, Todd Newton, John Michael Higgins, or Billy Eichner. But D. Bradley Baker must return. That part is non-negotiable. Anyway, that's my most recent episode of 15-Minute Game Show Reviews. I'm going to try and have another video or two out before the end of the month. Until then, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, down there, and follow me on Instagram and Space Hey. I'm Marty Yitram, the Geeky American Otaku. Y'all come back now, you hear?
D